Hey guys, welcome back to Code Sprint CS. In the last class, I left you guys with this code and I told you that I'll be explaining this code in the next lecture. So here I am. In this class, we're going to be starting off with the basics of Python, like comments and basic inbuilt functions that every beginner should know. And you don't need to know anything about Python, no prerequisites and nothing. I'll be explaining you guys from the very start in the very beginning and teach you guys the basics of Python. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So first let's start off with this inbuilt function. This is an inbuilt function which is called print. What print does is print outputs in the terminal. Whatever you put inside this inside the apostrophes and the brackets, it will be outputted in the terminal. As you can see, hello world is being output. Whatever we write here, like today is a sunny day. As you can see, it's being output here. Whatever you type over here, it's gonna just show in the terminal. Okay, you can type anything, even a number, but it will return as a string. Okay, this is a string. I'll show you guys. Type. As you can see, it's a class string. str stands for string. What a string is, it's not it won't show as a number. It's gonna show as alphabets and letters, etc. Okay, so yeah, if you wanna type a number, if you wanna print a number, you can do 3355 like this, and this is gonna be a integer. As you can see, class integer, and it's gonna output the same 3 with 3355. Okay, but this time it's an integer. Okay, as you saw earlier. Now let's look at another basic inbuilt function, okay, from Python. So let's suppose I want to take an input from the user. Okay, I want the user to type something and give me an input. So let's make a variable name, and I want to ask the user to give me a name. So I'll write input, enter your name. What this is going to do is, input is a inbuilt function, and what this is going to do is ask the user for an input. Okay, so if I run this, it's going to ask me an input. Let's just say code sprint yes, and if I press enter, as you can see, nothing happened. Why is that? That's because I didn't print it. If I want it to show in the terminal, I'm gonna write print name. Now if I write code sprint yes, as you can see, it printed it. Okay, but if you guys ask why I didn't use the speech marks, it's because if I use the speech marks, it's just gonna output this. Okay, it won't output what's in the variable. Let's see. Code sprint yes, as you can see, it just output name. That's why if we want to output what's in the variable, we're just gonna write the variable like so, and that's gonna output, let's see, that's gonna output code sprints yes, just like so. Okay, so that's about input. Let's say I wanna let's just jump into another basic inbuilt function. So let's say I want to check the length of the name. Okay, let's say I want to check the length of this name. So another inbuilt function that I can write is length. What length is going to do is, if I print the length bracket name, it's going to print the length of the name, like how many letters are there or alphabets or whatever. how many characters are there basically in the name. So if I write quotes print CS, you can see it's 12. If you want to count it, you can count that there are 12 letters, okay, 12 characters in this. Hence it prints the length of the name, just like so. Now I'm gonna tell you the different types of data, okay, like different data types. So let's say print 5 or type 5, and another one I can say print type 5.0, sure, and print hello, sorry, hi, hello world. Okay, now let me explain this to you first. If I press print, as you can see, for print type 5, 5 is an integer, okay, since it doesn't have speech marks and neither is there a decimal point. Since this has a decimal point, the second one, it shows us that it's a float. Float is a real number, meaning that any number which is a decimal number or a fraction number, its data type has to be float, okay. And the third one is type string. As I told you earlier, since it has speech marks, hence it's a string, okay. Another data type I want to tell you guys about is boolean, okay. So let's suppose I say text equals to true and I print the type of text. What you're gonna see is it's bool. It outputs class bool. What bool is basically, bool means boolean, and boolean basically means that it's a decision, okay. It's either going to be true or false, anything. Boolean means it's a decision, meaning either true or false, or 0 or 1 or something like that. Anything that's a decision, it's going to be bool, okay. So yeah, now let's suppose I want to convert data types, okay. For example, I want to convert a string into an integer or a float or anything like that, okay. That's known as typecasting, and let me show you how to do it, okay. So let's suppose I write text equals to 10, for example. This is a string since it's in quotes, okay, double quotes. So let's say I want to turn that string into an integer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to print int, and then I'm going to write the variable next to it. What int is going to do is int is going to make that variable into an integer. So if I press this, it's going to show 10. But if I say text like this, it's going to output the same. But if I print type of text, right now it's going to show that it's a string, okay, since the variable is a string. But if I make this an integer, like so, as you can see, it's now an integer, okay. So that's me converting it into a integer. If I want to convert it into a, let's just delete this. If I want to convert it to a float, I'm gonna say print float text. Now it's gonna output 10.0. As you can see, 10.0. If I want to see the type of it, I'm gonna just say type float, and this is gonna output class float. Class float basically means that its data type is a float now. Now let's say I want to convert it into a string. It's already a string, but let's say I make this 10, and I say instead of float I write string, str for string. Now as you can see, it's a string. If I remove this, you can see it's now an integer. Now let's say I convert pizza into a string, into an integer, I say int, come in, int, now it's going to show an error. Since pizza is not a number, if I even write it in quotes, it's still going to give me an error because pizza is not a number. It can't be turned into a number. What can be turned into a number is an actual number that's written in a string. For example, I write 1 2 3 in a string. Sorry, this can be turned into a number, into an integer, as you can see. Now this is an integer, okay, but if I write anything, any letters in it, even if I write A123 4, it's still gonna give me an error since there is an alphabet over here, okay. If I remove it, it's gonna turn into integer. So that's basically, all of this is basically known as typecasting, where I convert into different data types, okay. The last thing before going is I'm gonna tell you guys about comments. I see a lot of people not using comments when they should be using it because it just makes the program and code easier to understand. Comments are like notes we write inside our code to explain what it does, but Python ignores them. So for example, you are a beginner and you don't know what I've done here, okay. So what I'm gonna write is, I'm gonna write plain English telling you guys what I did here. So I'm gonna write a hashtag. What hashtag does is it declares that it's a comment, okay. So whatever I'm gonna write, Python is just gonna ignore it, but it's for our understanding, okay. So I'm gonna write I turn the text into a integer. Now if into an integer. Now if you are a beginner, you wouldn't know what I did here, okay. So for your understanding, I'm gonna write a comment over here, and I'm gonna write this is known as typecasting. This is another comment based for use for your understanding. So these are known as single line comments since I've written a hashtag in every line. But let's suppose I'm gonna write today is a sunny day, just because why not. You see, I have to write a hashtag every time, but if I wanna write so many lines, I don't wanna write a hashtag in every line. So what I can do is I can remove all of these and press enter. I'm gonna write 3 single quotes over here, and I'm gonna write 3 single quotes over here, and this is all turned into a comment. All of this is one comment, okay. And as you can see, I didn't have to write any hashtags or anything, and Python is gonna ignore all of it. So if I press run, as you can see, I have the same output. But if I don't use it, Python is definitely gonna give me an error. As you can see, it's an invalid syntax, okay. This is plain English, we can't use it in Python. So we're gonna write 3 single quotes over here, and I'm gonna write 3 over here, and all of this is just converted into comments. This is known as multi-line comments. I'm gonna write it in the next line. These are known as multi-line comments. So why do we use it? If you are questioning it, we use it because it makes the code easier for us to understand, okay. And especially for someone who doesn't know what the code means, we can just write comments to help them understand what we are doing. If, like for example, you are working in a group and a group of members is writing a code, so if they don't understand a certain something, you can just write it in comments so that they understand and work on it. So that's it for today's class, and this was just a class to tell you guys about the basic functions of Python. Since a lot of teachers ignore it, I just wanted to make a good foundation of the basics for you guys. And that's it for today. Until next time, peace out.